How many people have read their Rotary Down Under this month? Oh, 5. That's excellent. That's excellent. Well, there was a great article on youth homelessness, or on homelessness generally there, and of course I took an excerpt from that. There are 100 million people in the world who are homeless every night. In Australia, there are 100,000. And 25% of those are under the age of 18. Now, it's timely we hear from Tom because his research is in the area of youth homelessness. So, we welcome you, Tom. Tom has had professional experience in youth management. He's chair of
YACSA, Youth Affairs Council.
Okay, Youth Affairs Council. And he is now bringing that practical experience into a theoretical framework and gathering data, and I'm sure the analytics will guide us in the future as to how we might deal with this problem. And just as I leave the stage, it's interesting to note that in this great feast that's coming up, Jesus was born into homelessness. So, there you are.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, volume-wise, do I need to adjust the microphones, or am I deafening people, or is it okay? That's good, thank you. I shall just set the PowerPoint up. Well, beginning. Thank you. Now, I should apologise. I should have been a guest here in October, just a few months ago, but I'm afraid I had flu at the time and I was somewhat contagious. So I apologise if you're expecting me a couple of months ago, but I shall more than make up for today. I'd like to start by really thanking the Rotary Club of Adelaide, certainly since 2013, who have been a wonderful support, not only to myself and my candidate youth, but also broader youth issues. And I'd like to start by a bit of a history lesson, if that's okay. As Frank alluded to, the Rotary Club of Adelaide in 2013 approached a number of youth agencies here within the CBD of Adelaide to identify something which the club would be able to invest in. And fortunately for me, the decision was made to support a PhD. And lo and behold, in March 2014, I began my studies. Now, progress today, I won't bore you with some of the minutiae, but I've achieved a wide range of university milestones, and Frank will be particularly relieved to hear that. The ethics application process was quite demanding. Because I was engaging with children under 15 or under 16 years of age, it required a high level ethics application. And what I had to do, because I was engaging with children, the standard process is you'd seek permission from parents to engage with a child. However, because often the parents of the young people and children I was engaging with were the cause of some of the issues, I wasn't able to go down that path. So, in order to ensure that the interviews which I conducted were appropriately ethical, I had to ensure that the children were aware of what they were committed to by engaging with a worker who was able to reassure them that what they were participating in was trying to find research. But again, there were a lot of hurdles to jump through. The data collection took, well, just under a year, and I finished it just a few months ago. And what I've been doing since then is transcribing, listening verbatim to 63 interviews and typing them out, every sigh, tear, swear word that people uttered. Fortunately, I've got wonderful dulcet tones, so certainly my half of the conversation is easy to interpret, but certainly for a lot of the other young people it's quite a challenge. What I did, I interviewed 30 young people who were homeless in Adelaide. Some of them were rough sleepers, living in the streets, some living in cars, some living in emergency accommodation, others staying at friends, relatives, couch surfing. Of the 30 people I interviewed, 13 were young parents. One of the significant issues that those parents presented with was that only 2 of them had their children with them. So for 11 people, they were ghost parents. The children had been removed for a variety of reasons, which again is one of the topics which I'll be discussing a bit later on. The gender breakdown, 17 women, 13 men. I also interviewed 33 youth workers, and these were frontline workers. I didn't engage with management or anybody within the hierarchy of any organisation. It was purely youth workers, and they came from a wide range of backgrounds: GPs, social workers, psychologists, youth workers, etc. And again, 24 women, 19 men. Now, the crucial issues that I found, there are a lot of general issues that young people presented with. A big omission for a lot of these people was having a reliable, significant adult in their lives. One of the causes for their homeless experiences was family breakdown, and partly that was down to poor parenting. A lot of the young people weren't able to identify any adult who was either respectful, loving, caring, nurturing, supportive in any shape or form. And a lot of the young people's parents presented with significant issues themselves, whether it was poverty, drug and alcohol issues, abuse, etc. So the general issues that these young people face are quite significant. Other issues that fall under this broader category include experiences of violence amongst themselves. If you think of life on the street, there's the visible components that we might see on High Street and parklands, on the railway bridges and car parks. And a lot of the times people have to be sleeping with one eye open to make sure that their health and safety is okay. So one of the crucial issues has been how to manage that violence. An additional topic here is the curse of cash converters and or pawn brokers of whatever kind, and the fact that a lot of young people have had to resort to that sector in order to get a bit of cash. Some of them are payday loans, but again, the impact that has on the young person having to make repayments or indeed to try and recoup the item which they've pawned is really quite significant. Above and beyond that, there's also the issues of mobile phone plans, etc., which I won't go into. The physical health issues are really quite significant. Within South Australia, as most, well, myself in particular, experienced a few weeks ago, the prevalence of asthma is really high. A lot of research into youth homelessness in other jurisdictions focuses on bronchitis, pneumonia, maybe those kind of health disorders which tend to accompany cold weather. Whereas here in Adelaide, when there's a beautiful dry north wind blowing and the dust storms are upon us, asthma was one of the key issues that a lot of young people presented with. The other thing was a lot of chronic health conditions, whether it was arthritis, diabetes, and how to manage them when you're living rough, and or managing medication that either needs to be taken with food or needs to be kept within a certain temperature range. Both of those are significant challenges for people. There were a significant number of young people with mental health issues. Some of them are more indicative of what happens to young people anyway. You know, there's, I think the vast majority of mental health issues first present in the under 25 age group. So because I'm researching 12 to 25-year-olds, that population cohort clearly fits within that group range. But what was particularly interesting was the psychosis, the low prevalence disorders, weren't that prominent in the group of people I interviewed, whereas the high prevalence disorders, anxiety, depression, etc., were significantly represented in this population group. For workers, one of the crucial aspects that elicited a successful workplace culture was positive was appropriate supervision. There were some examples where supervision and staff orientation was fairly ad hoc and random, and if you're working at the very, very point end of things buildings, working with very disadvantaged young people with often very complex issues being presented with. If that back of house support, the supervision, the debriefing, isn't available, it tends to lead to a workplace culture that's either unsupportive or where there's significant staff churn. Something else which I need to grapple, and this will be one of the recommendations, Frank, but I'm not sure quite how to word it, is how to ensure within a small NGO, where both resources are limited and also the ability to ensure staff have a bit of time off to do some professional development, is built into the workplace. And it's something that not only takes up time, but there's also a financial component as well. Workplace bullying was something that I came across, and this I found quite confronting. I spoke to 63 people, and the stories that made me lose sleep at night were when workers disclosed they'd been bullied, both by their peers, but also by the young people they've been supporting. I heard some fairly full-on stories, which I won't tell you today, from young people, but the trickiest ones were how to resolve that workplace bullying. So one of the recommendations will be to, again, ensure the structure in place to minimise that, or indeed eradicate it completely. And the tricky thing as well, and I'm sure a lot of people within this room are familiar with, staff retention. The most expensive part of the whole employment continuum is the recruitment process. Inevitably, it takes time to place an ad, either in the Times or Seek or Career One, etc. Getting together a panel to interview, then a 2 to 3 month orientation, then potentially a probation period. All of that takes up a lot of time. So staff retention, when it's successful, will have significant benefits to any organisation. Now, the next steps for me. I'm doing 4 publications. Basically, with a thesis, as many of you will be aware, there's the traditional thesis, which is 120,000 words of brilliance. And there's a thesis to publication, which is the path I've taken, for a variety of reasons. And the publications will highlight 4 particular issues. And again, all of this is for young people, the youth sector, within the confines of the CBD of Adelaide. So it's very specific, although the research will be transferable to other jurisdictions. The 4 publications will be looking at the broad issues that impact upon young people, such as cashes, violence, living on the streets. The second paper will look at the mental health issues that young people face and how we can best resolve them. What's interesting is recently Headspace Adelaide opened. And admittedly, initially opened in Taunton Park at the Mitsubishi factory, but then it transferred up to Wakefield Street. But probably, the data which I was able to access in 2013-14 suggests that only about 2% of young people accessing Headspace experience homelessness. So we need to ensure that young people's mental health needs are being supported and addressed. The third topic is how to resolve the physiological issues, how we can support people to take medication on time, how to keep the medication safe, how to make sure that if they're taking Brufen, that they have it with a meal, etc. So all of those things which, for the broader community, are manageable, but maybe if you're living in a parlour situation, can be a challenge. The 4th paper is what we as a sector need to do best. So there'll be a series of recommendations that will articulate what I've found from my study and research, as well as talking to people, what the next step will be. Now, I should have worn a badge that says, "Do not ask me about my thesis." However, it's going well, to reassure you. I will probably finish in the middle of next year. No, thanks to the old hero. And upon completion, I want to return to the youth sector. Academia, having enjoyed it for the past 2 or 3/4 years, doesn't hold that much of an attraction for me. But my final words are thank you, a sincere thank you to all of you in this room, Australian Rotary Health, but also the Don Dunstan Foundation for the significant support that you've shown me, but also the broader youth sector for a long, long time. And thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Tom. And I'm not going to allow anybody to ask questions. So asking questions like your thesis is okay.
Good. And I'll be here for the
But I'm sure that there'll be many people who would like to understand this issue and to interact. And maybe we can send your email out with the secretary, because this is a major issue in our society, in a rich country. And it's interesting that Rotary, both internationally, is now taking this issue up, and lots of Rotary clubs are beginning to actually focus on the consequences of homelessness and how it might be averted. So your research will add to that dialogue. So thank you very much.